All right, students, welcome back. Last class, we started our texture collage by texturing our paper through crayon rubbings, and today you are going to pick one shape. You are going to trace that same shape the whole time and cut that out 4 pieces for your collage. So let's start with what I think is probably the easiest shape, which is the square. I could put it right in the middle, but then I would only get 1 square out of this whole piece of paper. So instead, I'm going to be strategic about this, and I'm going to think, how many can I get out of this piece? So I'm going to start right up in the corner. Another great thing about starting in the corner with this square is I don't have to cut this side or this side. The paper is already cut that way. So once I trace this, I only have to trace 2 sides, and I only have to cut 2 sides to get my 4-sided shape. Okay? So now I have the lines for where I'm going to cut that. I could put this square down here, and then I would have to cut 2 sides. I could line it right up with this one, but I would still have to cut 2 sides. So it's up to you where you want to do it. Some students say I want to go for the corner because then at least I know it's really good and square. And you are going to cut that out. One other strategy that we found in my last class, which is really awesome, is once you have one paper with your shapes traced on it, you can take like 3 more that you have not traced shapes on, and you can put those 3 right underneath this. And now instead of cutting out 2 squares, I'm going to cut 4 squares. I'm going to cut very carefully. I'm going to hold my paper very carefully. So now there's 4 squares in that pile. And instead of cutting 1 right here, I now have 4. Now, some students in the last class just tried to cut through like 20 papers at one time. That's not going to work. You're going to end up with really messed up shapes. Okay, so the square, like I said, is probably the easiest. Some of you, though, you might want to choose a different shape. I think the next easiest one, and I guess that goes for a rectangle too. For the rectangle, it's pretty easy. You could just lay that down, lay it here and trace it. Line that up right there and trace it, and then one more time line that up right there and trace it. You might even be able to get one over here and one down here. Okay. The next easiest shape is probably the triangle. Again, I would start by lining it up with a corner, and instead of having to cut these 2 sides, I could just do this line, and that could be cut. I could line this up right here, and then 2 lines, make a cut, and then I could see if it fits. The smaller triangles will be able to fit 3, but this bigger one only fits 2. Then again, I can take 3 more papers that are not even traced. I can line them up carefully. Notice how if I do this, I can get the corners all lined up, just kind of tap it on the table. I can cut through here carefully. And now instead of having 2 triangles, I'm going to have 8. And remember, if I pick the triangle, I'm going to stick with the triangle the whole time. All of it is going to be triangles. This part that is scrap can go in the recycling bin, and you can leave it right at the trash at your table, and then we'll empty that periodically today. The hardest shape, I think, is the circle. The circle is the hardest because you have no help with the sides. You don't get to line it up with any of the sides, and it's hard to keep turning as you're cutting. So I can put one there, I can put one here. With this big of a circle, I think I'm only going to be able to get 2 out of this paper. I don't think another one is going to fit fully. But then, just like with the other ones, I would stack up a couple more pieces of paper under that, and then I would cut those out. I would say the circle is the challenge. It's pretty tricky. Let's talk about using your scissors today. These scissors are a tool, not a toy, and certainly not a weapon. You need to be very careful or you will not be able to use scissors today. We don't need to walk around with any scissors. We're just using them to cut on the lines that we make. All of your shapes, if you had all triangles at the end of class, all your triangles are going to go back into your Ziploc baggie. You won't need your crayons anymore. Those can come back to me, and you won't need your tracing shape if you get all your papers cut. So that can come back to me at the end of class. If you don't get them all cut, you're going to hold on to that until next class.